fast, efficient and affordable business-grade hosting solutions, domain registration, SSL certificates and more. We also monitor and provide website security and update services, website builds, email hosting, amongst other sensational products. If you have a question about your web page or your presence on the internet in general, no job is too big or too small. Visit our website today, or better yet, contact us at blueoceanwebhosting.com.au and leave your website issues to us.
Big ones, little ones, fiddly ones, powerful ones. The ones for the car or the truck, caravan, boat, mobility scooter, solar system. In fact, for any kind of battery, go straight to Battery Central Ipswich. They'll even help you when you know what you need to power but have no idea what'll do the job. Battery Central Ipswich, 280 Brisbane Street, West Ipswich, in the yellow building. Expert advice, better batteries, best prices every day. That's Battery Central Ipswich. Welcome to episode 763 of the Aussie Tech Heads. I'm Jason Oakley and this is Will Tompkinson. Hey Will.
Hey mate.
How's things going? You sound a bit Barry White there.
Yeah, despite the fact I don't sound too good, it's all a head cold. It's all just nasally and behind the eyes and bah. Yeah. I actually feel fine. It's just one of those things. It doesn't help that it was like 34 or something today, so head cold in 34 degree weather with a huge amount of wind and pollen in the air is fantastic.
Oh, jeez. You can keep it. We're going to have a lot of rains and maybe more flooding, so I've got that to look forward to.
Yeah, so are we. Apparently, we're going to get a couple 100 mil in 4 days, apparently. So we need that, and it's heading down the coast because they need it too.
Down to us, yeah.
No, down the coastline, down like through Lismore and Ballina again, all through there.
Reflood.
So
it's a once in a 1,000 year event.
That's just how long that event goes for, see?
Yeah, constant.
It goes for like 940 years.
Yep. We should say this episode's dedicated to Glenn Goodman, who passed away Wednesday last week. We got a note on the Aussie Tech Heads Facebook page from his wife. It's with the heaviest of hearts that we let you know that Glenn has passed away on Wednesday, the 16th of March, after a long battle with COVID. There'll be a memorial service held on Friday, the 25th of March at 11 a.m. Queensland time, Allambie Memorial Gardens, located on Nerang Broad Beach Road in Nerang. This will be followed by a wake at Burleigh Heads Surf Club from 1 p.m. And you'll be able to watch that live streamed if you're not up on the Gold Coast area. You can go to the Aussie Tech Heads Facebook page, facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, and it's got the information there on where to log in at what time and the username and password. So hope you can make it. I know we'll be watching it ourselves.
Yeah, I'm going to try and make it. It's going to depend on the weather. If it's not raining horrendously, I'll try and get down there.
Yep.
But otherwise, I won't be able to. But yeah. Unfortunately, guys, we've had to deceive some of you guys as to what's going on because obviously we knew stuff beforehand, but we couldn't say anything until it became official. So
yeah, we wanted to let his family say something first.
Yeah, so if we're dodging your questions or sort of being giving a roundabout answer, that's kind of why. But no, we do. Obviously, Glenn. Yeah, he's the founder of Aussie Tech Heads and the Secret Hub on the Gold Coast.
We wouldn't be here without him.
And Glenn and Mark started the whole thing back in when was that? I can't remember when it was. I joined about episode 200. You're 3 some odd.
Yep.
360 or something like that. You joined, and we've had Garth and we've had
Eric.
Shane. Eric, Shane, PA.
Milo was on a couple of times.
Yeah, we had Milo on a bit. And some of these guys, like Shane is one, and there's another gentleman, I can't remember his name. I have to go back through the Facebook post and read it. But Glenn helped them out get started in their careers, and they do podcasting. And one of them's a tech journalist now, and that's all. Glenn helped them out, just off his own bat. And same with us. Like, we just randomly messaged him one day and went, "Hey, do you want another host?"
You're the one who wrote me in.
Actually, I did. Yeah,
I was doing Tech Talk Radio call-ins through Skype, and you're like, "Come on our show." Like, well, I don't know. I'll have a listen to a couple episodes and maybe have a look.
And and of course the offsprings of that was, a few forays, which ultimately the reason they failed was time. I purely didn't have time, but there was the Android show, there was Talkback Tech,
Crypto,
Old Fart Geeks, Crypto one,
Minecraft.
There was a Minecraft one there at one point. We had a few different shows
Aussie
on and off.
Mac Zone.
And even prior to Aussie Tech Heads, I think they had a show called Retro Regeneration or something. I can't remember what they were. There was 2 or 3 sort of...
That was my radio show, Retro
Regeneration. There was Retro something. I can't remember what. I was trying to find it
Wasn't
today,
there a
actually.
security show as well?
There was, briefly. There was but prior to Aussie Tech Heads, there was 2 or 3 different show attempts at sort of getting the formatting and everything. And I mean, originally it was audio. I think up until like episode 100 or something was all audio.
I went back through the YouTube episodes, and they've only got from like 269 onwards. Yeah,
there's about 100 missing, I noticed today. I'm not sure. I believe they were on the Secret Hub channel, because originally it was all done on the Secret Hub. And I think the Secret Hub channel has been closed. So the earlier ones aren't on there. I did have a look on the Wayback Machine. And they do link to them on the old Aussie Tech Heads and the old Secret Hub website, but of course the links don't exist anymore. So they were on there at some point.
I was looking for some clips for the end of this show, so stay tuned. There'll be a few added on the end of this, just some funny moments with Glenn. But I was looking for the first episode or something, so I could say, this is how it all started, but he didn't.
Yeah, the really early ones, I literally recorded with, like, I think they had like a laptop sitting in front of them, and they had a lapel mic that they just passed backwards and
all right.
The old early ones. But yeah, no, it's obviously we wouldn't be doing the show if it wasn't for Glenn. And I've met Glenn a few times, obviously working with him throughout the years and doing different things. And I've been to his place a few times, come to my place a few times. With the big thing we did was the one of the big tech spectacular show thing they have on at the Performing Arts Centre in town in Brisbane. I can't think what it's called off the top of my head, but we met there, and it was funny the year we went. I can't remember for the life of me, I got a complete blank. I can't think who the third person was we went with. I don't know why. I can see, I just can't see it, but I know that we went there and we put like our business cards in all these different things saying, you'll win something if you put your business cards in.
Yep.
And Glenn crossed his name out and put our names on them, like when not even asking to. And we all won something. I won like back then, I think it was the Xbox 360 was just launched. Oh, I won one of those, nice. And Glenn won something else. And yeah, it was, we did that. And then of course you had a chance to meet him at, was it Robina or wherever it was?
Yeah, Robina Shopping Centre when I went up on holidays a couple of years ago. I said that I want to catch up, so we had some lunch and a chat for about an hour or so and got a nice photo of us there. We'd been like, Glenn's got to come back on episode 700, 750. Glenn is going to be back one day.
Yep, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like you just don't,
Yeah, you don't know.
You just, the future's so unknown, but the fact that it's, in some regards, like it's been what? I think I worked it out. It's been close on 15 years I've known him.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't. I don't know where that's gone. Think about it. That's 550 odd episodes ago. Like it. It's.
Yeah, I started about 9 years ago on this show and been going since then.
Yeah, it's it's so hard to fathom, but
I think he was in ICU for about 8 to 10 weeks or something, wasn't he?
He went in mid-January, I think, something off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at my timeline, but I think we've known that he was in ICU and pretty rough since mid-January, but we just obviously can't say anything without permission, But
yeah, we'd talk And they'd said he was going a bit better, and then going a bit worse, then going a bit better, and then
was going really good at. Apparently, they started taking him off. He started taking him off all the machines.
Yep.
So you just never know, do you?
No.
It does bring up. It's sort of. I don't want to say the one good thing that came out of it, but one thing that it sort of has raised my awareness of. It's sort of twofold. One is I'm now aware that I need to have somewhere where I have a physical offline presence of all my accounts and passwords, and like I've got to have that somewhere that even if you can't get into my computer or something happens and I can't access that, then somebody else knows where that is.
Yep. I gave my daughter my Bitwarden login so she could access all of those, but she wouldn't be able to get onto my computer because she doesn't know the password or my phone, so we'll probably do something about that. We all went through that sort of thoughts when her mum passed away a couple of years ago, so...
Yeah, and the other thing I've sort of thought about too was like, okay, well, Glenn was a small business owner, and I don't know the laws around it. Generally passed on to next to kin, but I'm not sure how that works. But it's the same thing. Like now that I'm a small business owner and Son's a small business owner, we're like, okay, well, we really need to put a plan B in place there in case something happens as well. It's not just online presence, it's the physical presence that we had. Like 20 years ago, it wasn't really an issue.
No,
it wasn't really an online thing to be worried about. But it kind of. They tie together now. If you are a small business owner, your online presence and your physical presence at the small business kind of go hand in hand in a lot of regards.
Yeah. A lot of the time you are the business.
Yeah, exactly. And everything that revolves around that is online. So even if it does go to, say it goes to your kid and he's under 18, well, it's going to go through a mediator or whatever first, but they still need access to your records and to your accounts and everything to continue the business. So
exactly.
It's not necessarily nice to think about, but it is certainly something to be aware of that I had not really even thought about, honestly. So
we're kind of lucky with my daughter's mum situation in that her current boyfriend had access to her phone and computer login, and then my daughter could get access to some of that stuff. So he doesn't play any games or anything, so he let her transfer all the stuff over to one of her email accounts, and she took over her mum's games and other accounts and stuff so that she could play some other stuff but also remember her mum, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's just something that you just need to be aware of now. So it's something I'm looking into getting organised.
Yep.
So I'm just because I do have a head cold, I'm probably going to be sniffling and carrying on. I'm going to try and avoid to do it in the mic as much as possible, but it's not always going to happen. So I apologise in advance for sniffing into the mic because I know it's great etiquette.
And you know what else you need? A will. Will?
Well, actually, it's funny you should mention that because I don't have one at all. Not that I have an outdated one. I just don't have one.
Yeah. I didn't have one for ages, but when I was in Sydney, they have a state government thing. You can go into the office and do it for free. You just talk to them and tell them what you want to happen, and they put it all together for you. And I'm just like, give it all to my daughter.
Yeah.
They're like, nobody else? I'm like, there won't be anybody else. Just give it all to her.
Yeah. I don't have friends. What are you trying to insinuate? How dare you?
Yep. So they fill all that out and then mail it to you. So I've got it in there, kept safe, and if anything happens, they'll have all of the information there.
And just so you guys are aware, at this stage, we're certainly going to do everything in our power to. There'll be a rough transition period, but we're going to try and make sure everything keeps happening with the shows, and they're going to stay up, and we're going to try and, we'll
keep it going in Glenn's honour.
It's going to be, it might be a bit rough for the next few weeks with the odd week here or there that's not happening, or we're not going to be able to do something because we haven't got a password or something or something. But we're going to try and work it out. See, obviously we have to chat with Kim and the family and see, if what they're happy to do and what they want to do.
We're just lucky that he gave me access to the Facebook account and also on YouTube to upload stuff.
Yeah, which I had, and then when my computer crashed, I lost all the current password list, and So, and I messaged him when I didn't realize he's in hospital. Actually, I messaged him saying, "Can you send me your password?" He's like, "No, I'm in hospital. I'll give them to you when I get out." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I messaged him not long ago as well and said, "Hope you're doing all right." And Will needs access to stuff. Can I at least get your Facebook or your YouTube login?
Yep.
I had it, and it was in my Bitwarden, but he changed it at some stage, and I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I've got the older one, but not the new one.
No.
So I don't know. But yeah, so hang around to the end of the show, and or if you want, just fast forward to the end of the show. It's entirely up to you. I mean,
who wants to listen to us?
Just fast forward to the end of the show
right now. In fact, thank you for listening to the Aussie Tech Heads.
That's it. Let's just do it that way. But no, we'll have something at the end there. But yeah, just remember if you are available on Friday to watch live, it'll be I would imagine it will be re-recorded at some point and replayable. But if you got the opportunity to watch it live, then and also too, I'd like to thank everybody for the support that came through on the Facebook pages and the.
I'm sure Kim was thankful too.
Yeah, it really helped, and makes them. It makes you realize just how the people who've never met him, people who've been listening to him for 20 years but never met him. There's people who are like, he's the reason that I started this, or he's the reason I got into that, or you go through the stories. It's amazing how many people he helped. It's kind of a pity you've got to wait until it happens to find that out. But at the same time, it's Glenn's the sort of person who couldn't care less about praise. Like it wasn't him. He just did stuff because it needed to be done. The amount of times that we're having stupid issues with websites or emails mostly because the web devs were useless. And I'd pick up the phone at 8 o'clock of the night. Admittedly, okay, I had his phone number. It's a little bit cheaty, but pick up the phone at 8 o'clock of the night and go, "Hey, Glenn, your system's booted me off again because these guys did this. Is there another way I can get into it?" So yeah, no, it's all good. The one thing I will quickly ask, just for now, if anybody has a Patreon or a PayPal or they're donating in any way like that, can you guys just put a pause on it just temporarily, because I'm not sure if anybody has access to any of that stuff to be able to check it. We can't get into the back end to pause any of the donations or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, like I'm thankful for them and I appreciate it, but I believe some of them were going into the Aussie Tech Heads business account. Some of them were going into Glenn's account just because it was easy to do that. Until we can figure out exactly where things are going, if you guys can pause donations temporarily, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you do feel like it in a couple of months, once we get it all back up and sorted again, then by all means, we'll have an option there for you to continue that. Alrighty, so that's all the fun stuff out of the way.
Dear, it's to be done though.
Yeah, it's all fun. It's all fun and games, I suppose, is the expression.
Maybe you should get into some news.
Let's try.
Alrighty. NBN Co. had a near 90% success rate, encouraging 12 megabits and 25 megabit users to upgrade to either 50 or 100 and above services under a recent marketing campaign. The migration of users out of lower speed tiers under last year's Focus on Fast campaign went largely under the radar until it was made public during NBN Co.'s financial results briefing last month. Focus on Fast was a try before you buy scheme that enabled users to be moved up to much faster speed services for free for 6 months before being given a chance to pay more or roll back to their previous speed tier. Most of the attention around Focus on Fast was initially around upgrades of 100 meg users to 250 meg. Retail service providers reported mixed results after the campaign expired, especially among 100 megabit per second users that were happy enough to take a half year of higher speeds before dropping back down again to 100. NBN Co.'s figures reveal that 145,100 of the 100 megabits per second users were moved up to 250 for free as part of the campaign, and that 92,200 or 64% elected to stay on 250 megs and pay more. However, the success of Focus on Fast is really seen at the lower end of the broadband mix. NBN Co. said that 540,000 25 megabit per second users trialled on an upgrade to 50 meg services, and 80% or 470,000 decided to pay at the end. In addition, 25,200 of the 12 megabit per second services were moved up to 50/20, and 22,400, that's 89%, stayed once the campaign and rebates ended. Smaller numbers of low-end users took a much larger leap of faith to higher speed tier services. NBN Co said that 2,800 of the 12 megabit services were moved to 100 megs and above, of which 2,400, which is 86%, stayed on, and that 5,600 of the 25 megabit services were moved to 100 meg and above, and 4,600, which is 82%, chose to stay there. The conversion figures offer an unusually detailed view into the marketing campaign and its relative success in achieving what the company set out to do, which is to coax more of the user base onto high-speed plans. Depending on the outcome of upcoming changes to NBN Co Special Access Undertaking, SAU, however, such discount schemes may be more difficult to run in the future as retailers seek more price certainty and less change and experimentation on NBN Co's part. NBN Co has argued in favour of maintaining its ability to offer discounts, in part so it can keep testing out new price levels and combinations. The company is presently running another discount scheme aimed at getting even more users off 12 and 25 services, building on the success of Focus on Fast. How about that?
I wonder if the 100,000 users or whoever it was who they got the free upgrade were the ones who go, "No, I'm going to go back now."
Yeah.
Like, well, you're already here. Just stay there.
Some people couldn't get any upgrades.
Well, yeah, exactly. They when they upgraded them, but it didn't make any difference.
But I mean, people like you are stuck on a service that's not upgradable.
Yeah, I'm effectively, realistically, it's ADSL I'm on because it's copper and copper. It's copper and copper. Like, there's no fiber anywhere. I actually plug into an old phone socket here, so it's effectively ADSL too. So the speeds are
NBN in quotes.
Yeah, so the speeds I'm on, I think I average about. I'm supposed to be on the 125, but I think I get normally like 90/20.
Yep.
But it's pretty much consistent at that. Like, I can almost guarantee it's always that speed. So
TPG and someone was supposed to have to pay back millions of dollars recently because didn't tell people that they couldn't get the speeds that they're told they were supposed to.
Yeah, it was TPG and I think it was Optus actually, but yeah, I was reading that before. It was interesting. Which, see, this comes into the thing where they were ranking the ISPs, and Aussie Broadband ranked as one of the lowest. But as I said at the time, it wasn't a fair comparison because they're getting a lot of the areas that other places don't want, and their speeds are lower technically because they're on lower speed services.
Yeah.
But they're making people aware that they're on a lower speed.
Yeah, I mean, you could be on a higher speed service if it was available, but it's not.
Yeah.
And you're on Aussie Broadband, so that brings their numbers down. It's not your fault, it's not their fault, it's just the infrastructure's like that.
That's right. And the thing is, though, when I went with Foxtel here, because originally when we got Foxtel, we got 12 months free internet through Foxtel, so I was with them. And they're like, "Oh, you'll be on the 100, 250 or whatever it is." I'm like, "Well, that's fine." I said, "But I won't get those speeds." Yeah, no, you'll go. I said, "No, I really won't." But anyway, and so on my plan, I was on the 102. So statistically, I was on a faster plan.
Yeah.
In reality, I wasn't because I was still getting the same speeds.
Yeah. My cousin lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and Telstra would ring her up once a year, and they're like, "Hi, we'd like to get you onto our fast internet." She's like, "Really? That would be interesting. How are you going to do that?"
How do you manage that?
Wait, just tell us your address. Oh, okay. Here's my address. Type. There doesn't seem to be any ADSL or NBN or any kind of service where you are. Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Now, what were you saying about a faster plan?
I'll talk to you again next year when you try and sell me across to that. Nope, it's not going to happen.
But yeah, it was funny. Speaking of like independent providers and stuff, I got Amber credit. I haven't been with Amber for 3 months. I've been with Ellison, or how do you say it? Because Amber just wasn't working for me. Not their fault, just the way their plan structures are set up. And I got an $85 credit today because the how they credit you back for when the power peaks and drops and carries on.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's taken that long for the government to push through the actual statistics. But I got like an $85 credit from 3 months ago, so I thought that's pretty cool. they sent me an email saying, we're not trying to get back, we're not trying to get you back, we're not trying to do anything, we're just simply going to let you know that we've got a credit sitting here waiting for you to collect. Which is pretty cool.
Yep. They work out all right for me because I've got the Tesla battery, so they control that. And whenever the price goes up, the battery comes on. When the price goes down, the battery goes off. So,
see, I'm with Elysian now, Elysian Energy, and you basically pay. This bill's $35.
Yep. I think mine's about $40 a month, but that's network access, which they can't override it. So everyone has to pay that. And mine would be less because I'd have a higher solar rebate. But because of the floods and the granny flat was wet to try and stop mold, I had the aircon going in the granny flat for 2 weeks, and it's an old window unit. So it chews a lot of power. Plus, we had the aircon inside happening. So I wasn't putting that much back in solar. It probably would have had a $0 bill if we weren't running the 2 aircons. Yeah.
But, it's funny because I was going from $300 a month bills with Amber to $30 bills with Elysian.
All right.
And the price per kilowatt's the same.
Yep.
The solar rebates, more or less the same. The big difference is Elysian don't cap the amount you can return, whereas Amber did.
Yep.
Elysian do what they call a daytime and a nighttime priority. So you get to choose a cheaper rate depending on which one you use. So if you're at home during the day and you work overnight, you'd choose the day rate as your cheaper rate.
Yep.
If you're at home overnight and you worked in the day, you chose the other end. You choose the night rate if that's where you use more of your power, or if you have the aircon on.
Yep.
Like in our case, I chose the nighttime rate because we've got solar to run the aircon during the day.
Yep.
But I chose a cheaper rate because the solar can't run the aircon overnight, obviously. So I get a slightly cheaper nighttime rate in return for paying a fraction more during the day.
Yep.
But that's offset by the solar.
So no problem.
So you can kind of game the system a bit. It's actually a really good setup they've got. I'm quite fond of the way they do it.
Yep.
And you get 2 months. So they bill me. They meter read on the 9th, from the 9th to the 9th, basically. It takes them a week or so to get the bill out. And the bill's not due for 2 months. So you get 60 days to pay the bill. That's nuts. Nobody else does that. Everyone gives you 11 days.
Yep. Or else.
So, but So I don't know. So speaking of NBN, Telstra.
Oh.
And OneWeb. So OneWeb's a satellite company. Telstra and OneNeb.
Howdy doodly, neighbor Rooney.
Have signed a 10-year deal that will see the Australian telco incumbent build a maintain 3 new teleports in Australia to provide ground support in the southern hemisphere for OneWeb's growing fleet. So basically, the teleports are effectively a small satellite array that's ground-based that points up at the low orbit satellites that they've got in the sky. According to the pair, the first teleport will be located in Divendale, Northern Territory, and is scheduled to begin installation this month with the go-live planned in July. The other 2 sites in Charlton, Queensland, and Wangaratta in Western Australia are planned to come for completion later this year. Under the deal, Telstra will also provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week monitoring and quality assurance because they're good at that. Low Earth orbit satellite technology is transforming the global connectivity landscape, not only by creating business opportunities, but also giving more bandwidth to communities and governments giving more bandwidth to businesses, communities, and governments in the internet access they need for progress. OneWeb Delivery and Operations Chief Michelle Franci, F-A-N-C-I, Franci. More connectivity options benefit everybody. OneWeb has already launched 2/3 of its constellation, which is providing coverage in areas that have been historically difficult to connect, including Alaska, Canada, and the wider Arctic. The UK-based satellite company is gearing to launch more of its satellites this year after signing a deal with SpaceX. Following initial plans to launch 3 dozen satellites were halted by the Russian Space Agency over the invasion of Ukraine. They also signed a memorandum of understanding to explore new connectivity solutions in Asia-Pacific regions, including Australia. Telstra signed a similar deal with Viasat last month. That was the telco over a period of 16.5 years. Okay. Build and maintain the ground infrastructure needed for when the Viasat 3 geosynchronous satellite constellation eventually comes online.
Mm-hmm.
So geosynchronous basically means stationary. So they launch them and they sit, they're rotating at the same speed as the Earth. So yeah, so it looks like Telstra's going to be in charge of satellites now. Because, they did so well with that, what do they call that thing that they launched? I can't think what it's called now.
Satellite.
Yeah, it was they knew because they originally had a satellite up there, and then they've gone, oh, we're releasing a new one that's high speed and has more users, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was only like 10% better than the old one that didn't. So yeah.
The federal government has hinted that favourable tax treatment for cryptocurrency businesses is on the agenda as it tries to set a regulatory agenda for the sector. Speaking at a conference organised by Blockchain Australia, Senator Andrew Bragg, who chaired the Australia as a Technology and Financial Centre Committee last year, said he didn't want to see Australia miss out on a chance to become a blockchain hub. Once Bragg said Australia had wanted to become a hub for asset management. This hasn't happened. 96% of the funds under the management are domestic. He attributed this to former Labor government's failure to pursue the legislative changes needed to attract the sector and said he wanted to avoid this happening to the blockchain sector here. He told the conference he sees 4 key policy actions that should take place before the end of the year. Terms of reference for the Board of Taxation, setting up an inquiry into taxing crypto assets, an inquiry into the causes and policy responses of debanking by the Council of Financial Regulators, consultation on the market design, for example, licensing of crypto markets, and a final consultation on the custody regime covering custodial or deposit services. To reduce the risk that Australia misses its cryptocurrency hub opportunity, he said that rather than trying to tweak the already complex Corporations Act, we should have a very simple, clear and clean Digital Services Act. Digital Autonomous Organisations, or DAOs, which some people believe could replace corporations, should also be examined as part of any cryptocurrency regulatory regime. Since it's been taxed as partnerships rather than companies, he warned the rise of DAOs could result in mass tax leakage. He pointed out the company tax comprised of 17.1% of Commonwealth revenue in 2020-21, doubled the OECD average, and he says he believes this is unsustainable. The key principles for regulating DAOs are that there's a consumer protection framework, along with audit and disclosure standards, replaceable rules rather than company constitutions, to standardise DAO governance protocols and limited liability as it applies to companies. Expanding on how the tax system needs to accommodate ambitions for Australia to become a cryptocurrency hub, he said, unless you are competitive on taxation, you cannot be a serious hub. People like me will have to make the case to the public square that a tax cut in this space is needed, because he wants Australia to be viewed as a jurisdiction that people want their business in, because our tax system is clear and clean, just as our regulation is clear and clean. While ruling out advocating that Australia join jurisdictions like the Isle of Man and Bermuda as tax haven, he said we need to be more dynamic, adding that we shouldn't be afraid to look at tax havens as inspiration for regulation.
Nothing worse than when your tax leaks.
Nope. You should see a doctor about that.
Yeah. What's he mean our regulations are clear and crisp? What regulations are he reading?
I got no idea. But apparently he wants us to become a cryptocurrency hub.
Just see that, so in Canada they're having a peaceful protest, the same as they're doing in New Zealand, and the same as happening at Canberra, although the media refuses to show it. But so what the Canadian government did, quite illegally, but they decided that they're going to seize the assets in the bank accounts of all the truckies and all the processors. It's quite an illegal seizure, and it's all being fought in court, and they're going to be in a lot of trouble over it. But what happened was they're like, well, okay, well, let's seize their assets and seize their bank accounts, and they won't have any money to take us to court. So one smart guy goes, well, okay, let's start a funding campaign. We can't use a known thing because we can't use GoFundMe or something because one, they're going to pay it in a bank account, and two, they're going to shut it down like they have with every other attempt. So okay, let's just donate crypto.
Yep.
So they set up a Bitcoin wallet and this wallet and that wallet and another wallet and said, anybody want to donate crypto, you're quite welcome to go to this website, transfer money out of your account or off your credit card, transfer into crypto and put it into one of these wallets. And they raised, I think last time I checked, it was over $10 million.
Wow.
And the government can't touch it, obviously, because it's encrypted crypto, and I don't think they even know what that is. But
no wonder they want to be able to tax all of that and take control.
Yeah, but because some random guy started up an account who has no affiliation with any of these people, they got no way of knowing who owns the account. Therefore, and I don't think he was even Canadian. I think he was like Swedish or something.
All right.
So they got no way of touching this cryptocurrency. And then whenever one of the truckies or whenever one of the protesters needs money, they just email this guy and say, "Hey, we need money for this," and he just organizes it all over the phone or online or however and pays it. And so it didn't quite work the way they had planned.
Doesn't sound like it.
Meta, Facebook, that thing that can't be Facebook anymore. They have to be Meta. Anyway. Meta says Australians' anti-defamation laws are at odds with FTA's. Now, when you have Facebook saying that your anti-defamation laws are bad, you know that they're bad.
It has to be.
Like, that's like the be-all and end-all of insults. Australia's proposed anti-defamation laws seek to require social media platforms to establish a nominated Australian entity that can access user data for users who post potential defamatory material, which Meta warns is inconsistent with the country's agreements with its largest trading partners. Meta has warned that the anti-defamation legislation being proposed in Australia's federal government is at odds with the country's free trade agreements from other nations. The anti-defamation legislation, framed as laws to stop trolling, seeks to require social media services providers to establish nominated Australian entities that can access user data for users who have posted potentially defamatory. Yeah, I've lost my line. Where are we? Potential material. While in Australia, the laws contain this requirement, as the federal government wants to make it possible to unveil a poster's identity for the purpose of initiating defamation lawsuits.
Was all this started because of friendly Geordies calling some politicians some nasty names and they took him to court and he won?
Pretty much. That's basically what it comes down to. It's a little.
They don't want you calling Peter Dutton a Mr. Potato Head on Twitter and anything like that.
But the Article 105 of the Australian and United States Free Trade Agreement bans either country from requiring a service supplier based in the other country to establish or maintain a representative office in any form of an enterprise as a condition of offering cross-border services. So they literally can't. It's against their fair trade agreement. It's basically the Australian government stomping their feet and going, "We'll show you who's boss."
Yep.
Because once again, they don't understand how the internet works.
No.
Oh dear. So, but apparently, yeah, if they do that, they're going to be also they're going to,
they're going to fight Facebook.
Basically, Meta's going to say, "Look, if you're going to do that, we're just not going to be there. We'll just turn it off for your country. That's fine. Doesn't worry us."
Yeah. Won't affect them at all.
And then the government's like, "Yes, but who will you to send our propaganda to everybody?"
Twitter. Nope.
So basically, it's
not their hacked WhatsApp accounts. That's for sure.
So basically saying, apart from the fact they can't because of the fair trade agreement, they're also saying that the proposed laws create safety issues for vulnerable communities that are better served remaining anonymous online. So the Senate referred the anti-trolling law for review last month with a report that the committee's findings due this week. Oh, that's right. I forgot they're doing that as well. That goes hand in hand with it. So apparently you can't troll people either.
That's going to be really enforceable.
Yeah, it's like the whole, was it last year they tried to ban memes? Remember that? The UK went, that's it, we're banning memes. You can't share and post and copy memes anymore because they're offensive. Like, and how exactly are you supposed to keep that under control?
when people are making memes with like salt and pepper shakers and go,
Yeah.
you know what this is about.
Yeah, it's like, once again, there's more proof that the higher ranked you are, the stupider you are.
Yeah.
You know.
Do anything just to try and control people.
Yeah, exactly.
The NAB has begun development into its own stablecoin to help settle trades on its carbon credit platform. NAB, alongside UBS, Standard Chartered, BNP Paribas and other entities, combined to develop a distributed ledger technology DLT-based marketplace, Carbon Place, where organisations can exchange carbon offsets. The Carbon Place settlement platform will provide the IT infrastructure to enable reliable, secure and scalable trading of carbon credits and is set to officially launch by the end of 2022. While the bank has made no moves to investigate cryptocurrency, NAB Executive Innovation and Partnerships Howard Silby said at a Blockchain Australia event, banks are starting to have a mainstream blockchain moment. Silby added he is more focused on corporate institutional banking because that's actually where there's a lot of high friction, high complexity, multiple intermediary processes in banking. There we can solve some genuine customer problems or we can create some new market opportunities. Silby added this includes the carbon settlement platform as a great example of our high friction opportunity to create market opportunities for better transparency of buying and selling of carbon offsets. The challenge with this is that also making sure we can create a digital cash component so that we can fully settle both sides of the trade on the chain, and we're working harder on that. The stablecoin component to make sure that both parts of the transaction can be all on-chain is super important. That's another exciting development working on at the moment. He said that although the platform has executed the first real trades on the carbon platform, we're not really going to consider it fully operational till we've got the digital cash legs sorted. We've done trades, but we've had to settle partly in fiat, so the big breakthrough will be later this year when we have a stablecoin and we can do the whole thing on-chain. He added Australia has 4 of the 10 strongest banks in the world, therefore there's an interesting role for the Australian ecosystem here on the global stage, which could see the country become de facto global issuers of stablecoins in different currencies.
Yeah, well, that's what we're sort of talking about with crypto. Like,
it's inevitable, Mr. Anderson.
pretty much. But I mean, when they keep devaluing money, which isn't backed anyway, and
What's
they
the
want
difference?
to go and they want to go full digital currency because they want people to they want people to have a cashless society so they control the money from end to end, so they can do whatever they want with it.
Yep.
And cash stops them from doing that. You know, what's the difference between digital currency and crypto? The only difference is the government controls digital currency, whereas crypto is controlled by the people who are mining it and buying it and selling it. Like, at this day and age, crypto is far more backed and far more of a backed currency than actual cash is. So it's going to be more stuff. Yeah, okay, it's going to tank. You know, somebody like Elon Musk sells, 100 million shares. Well, of course it's going to tank the market, but it's never going to tank as much as if, they. Yeah, we'll look at countries. Is it like Zimbabwe or somewhere like that where they've got like
$1 trillion.
Yeah, and people walk down the streets with wheelbarrows full of money because they burn them. The homeless people burn the notes because it's cheaper than buying other stuff to burn.
Yeah, I saw one kid had. There was an old photo of a kid who made a kite out of bank notes because the money wasn't worth anything. No. He's flying a kite around.
And they're
money.
Like, it's not like they're $1 coins. They're like $1,000 notes. They're so worthless. And that's exactly what can happen. While ever the government's in control of your money, that's literally what it's going to do.
Yeah,
it has no basis. There's not backed in any way, so there's nothing to stop that inflation from going stupid. Like, it used to be based on buying and selling of gold and precious metals.
Yeah.
But
now it's all just on the computer anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple of quick ones. Xiaomi has released their new Xiaomi 12 Pro, which is their new flagship phone. Interesting side note is that Xiaomi actually occupies 3rd place in the worldwide smartphone market with 12%.
Oh, nice.
Apple has 22%, Samsung has 20%. And then the other, what's that? 20, 40, 30, what's that? 55% basically. So the other 45% of the market shares held with Huawei and Oppo and,
Google,
Flungdung and all these other ones that exist. Well, I'm sure Motorola's probably still in there somewhere too.
Somewhere.
But they've released their new 12 Pro, which is a 6.73 screen. It comes with 12 gig, an 8 gig 256 or a 12 gig 512 gig. So 12 gig RAM, 512 gig hard drive effectively. It doesn't have SD. It's got the new Gorilla Glass 5. It's got it's got a 6.73 inch AMOLED screen, 20:9 aspect ratio, has a resolution of 1440 by 3200 at 522 ppi. But here's the cool part: it has 120 hertz refresh rate, which the average person on a Windows computer, 75 to 100 is sort of the average refresh rate that most people use.
Yep.
You can go as low as even 50 and without really affecting too much. But the new phone actually, depending on what's happening on the screen, can actually refresh right down to 1 hertz, which is 1 frame a second. So if it's like literally only a clock on the screen with the seconds ticking over, it's going to refresh the screen 1 time a second. So the amount of battery power it's going to save by not having to constantly update the screen is pretty cool.
Nice. It's funny, when I was going through some of the old videos to find clips about Glenn and that, there was one about you Eric was talking about the Gorilla Glass becoming really popular in phones, and you were talking about, I got to have 6 gigs of storage on my phone because I use up so much space on my phone all the time. I need at least 6 gigs. Now you're like, right. The cheapest ones you can get are 256 these days.
I know. So weird. Especially with this one, though, because with the amount of memory it has, it scores 1231 in single core and 3459 multi-core on Geekbench 5, which doesn't sound like much out of context. But it's literally the fastest phone on the market currently. Wow. Using the new 4nm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset. And it's got a Vulkan graphics processor. The other cool part is the reason it's got such a lot of memory as well is it has 3 50 megapixel rear cameras and a 32 megapixel front camera.
Wow, nice.
You can record with all 4 cameras at the same time to give you an almost 360 degree thing. And it's a zoomable video image because it actually has a 2x optical zoom. So there's a 50 meg rear, 1.9 wide, a 2.2 ultra wide, and a 1.9, 115 degree ultra wide. So it's almost a complete one, flat.
So and why do I get the Pixel 6 then?
I don't know. And it has a 1.9 telephoto with a 2x optical, not digital, an actual optical zoom. Which allows, so basically what this means is you can record, 1080, you can record in 4K, but you can record in 4K at 120 frames, which is double standard speed, 240 frames, 480 frames, 960 frames, and 1920 frames a second.
That give you some nice smooth slow-mo.
The slow motion that this phone does is ridiculous. That at 1920 frames a second, it's going to take approximately it's 610. It's going to take about 200 seconds to play 1 second of video.
Wow, that's mad.
That's pretty cool. And they start at where are we? What was I looking at before? Depending on which phone you're going for, they're between $6.99 and $9.99 Australian.
That's pretty good.
That's a lot of phone for not much money.
Yep.
It's ridiculous, honestly. Now, speaking of trolling people, Apple Mac Studio troll people far better than I ever can. So they released their last announcement thing. They released 2 key products. One was the Apple Mac Studio, which is their effectively studio quality video editing hardware. And the other one was their studio display that goes with that. So their Mac Studio, so if you go for the basic one, which is the entry-level one running an M1 Max processor, you're looking at $3,100. If you go for their mid-range one, you're looking at $6,100. But if you go to the all-out everything, so the Mac Studio Pro with the 20-core processor, 20-core CPU, 64-core GPU, 32 neutral cores, 128 gig of RAM, 8 terabyte of SSD, you're looking at $12,100 AU.
Wow.
And here's the cool part, right? When you open it up, it has a standard M1 SSD style drive in it.
Yep.
It has a second port beside it, and it has a standard memory chip. Except they're all proprietary and serial number locked to the BIOS.
Yikes.
So you can't upgrade your memory, you can't upgrade the hard drive, and you can't add another hard drive even though there's an empty slot in it.
What is it that Apple's always had about upgradable things that they don't? They just want you to buy one model thing and it's got this in it whether you like it or not, and if you want another one, wait 12 months, we'll bring out another one that's faster and got more storage and you'll have to buy that then.
Yep. So basically you're buying yourself a Weiss terminal. Because that's effectively what that is. It was a lump of hardware that you couldn't touch anything in.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I'll give it credit. It's a powerful, it's a little powerhouse. Like I was reading somewhere, it can do 20. What were we reading? I can't remember what it was now. It can do 28K video streams simultaneously.
Yep.
So okay, it's definitely a power, and it's the same size as the Mac Mini. So it's pretty cool. So then I thought, okay, well, we haven't quite trolled you enough. So what we're going to do now is we're going to release our new Apple Studio display. Now, the prior one was, I think it was $6,000 for the display. It was like another $1,000 if you wanted the leg to put it on your desk.
Yeah, for the
and
stand.
It was like another $1,000 if you wanted the matte, non-reflective finish so you can actually see the monitor. So you're paying like $9,000 for this 27-inch monitor. This time, you get a 27-inch 5K Retina display. It has a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera built into it, studio quality mic, 6-speaker sound system with spatial audio. So it sounds pretty cool. So $2,500, unless you want the non-glossy screen, then it's $3,000. If you want the tilt stand, it's another $3,000. If you want the tilt and height adjustable stand, it's $3,600 on top of that. If you want the Visa mount adapter to mount your monitor to the wall, that's $3,000. So, and the really cool part about this new monitor that's taking design cues directly from the 1980s is that the plugs are hardwired into the back of the monitor, like the cables.
Yikes. That is...
So,
what the hell?
So you can't put extensions on them. You can't undo them to put them through the hole in the bottom of your desk.
No.
Because you can't fit the big power plugs and everything through them. You can't mount them on a Visa stand generally, because generally you would run the cable through the wall and out the back of the wall.
Yeah.
You're wall mounting it. So you can't even wall mount it.
Up. What the hell?
So thank you, Apple, for doing something that even I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Like,
where do they get these ideas?
You know,
I read somewhere that they made like an extra $2 billion in profit over the last year because they didn't include the headphones and charge cable and adapters for the phones now, saying it's a waste. It's environmentally unsound to include them with the phone, so we'll charge you for them separately, which everyone buys separately, and then ka-ching.
Admittedly, most people have that many of them floating around now.
Yeah, but there was enough to increase their profits by an extra $2 billion just on accessories that they don't include.
That was the first gen of the USB and the high output chargers, see?
Yep.
But this time round, that won't be such an issue because people have already got all that stuff.
Don't break them. Don't give them to the kids.
Yeah, Macs are not toys anymore. They should be, but they're not.
Yeah.
Apples are not for eating.
No. Ask Newton. They hit you on the head, cause concussion, and make you invent things like gravity. That's how it goes, right?
Bloody gravity. If I hadn't invented it, could you imagine where we'd be?
Out there.
Several thousand miles that way.
Floating along in the sky. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate that you take the chance to listen to us on this show. This is dedicated to Glenn, of course, and we'll continue the show in his honour every week that we can. We recorded this one on Wednesday night to make sure the show goes out before Friday, and that might even be the night that we do it from now on. We'll just see.
And if everything goes according to plan, we're going to try and get some of the old tech heads together, and we're going to try and do a bit of a group and have a bit of a chat about the good old days. It'll be released as a special episode when we get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Once again, please just remember to postpone your donations for now, just until we can get on top of that. Yeah. And don't unsubscribe from us. Don't unfollow us. Don't disconnect from our RSS feeds. We will still be doing it. There will be teething issues for a little while, but give us a chance. We'll get there.
So thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Head Show. We can be found at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Email us will@aussietechheads.com.au and go to aussietechradio.com 24/7 playback of tech-related shows. See you next time.
Bye.
Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Aussie Tech Heads. This is episode 335 on the 4th of April 2013. We've survived April Fool's Day. I think. I don't think we've got any stories here this week for you that are not true. There's a couple floating around, but I don't know about you. I'm getting a bit over it all myself. I didn't actually read any stories on April Fool's Day. But anyway, that's just me. How are yous? Welcome to the lounge, aussietechheads.com.au/live. Welcome to the guys in the lounge. Join us every Thursday night, and they squeeze in there, and I don't know what they do in there. I'll have to have a look one night. Might have to join them. I think they're having fun. A lot of strange noises coming out of there, but I think they're having fun. Welcome to everyone else that listens through the podcast or via the video through the front of the page or through YouTube. Welcome all. Okay. What we're going to start somewhere? Who wants to start? Anyone got any stories they want to keep? Oh, Shane, he got his little doodahs to say. This little
history thing.
This little this week in text. What do you got?
Don't show us your doodahs, Wayne. It's not that little, Glenn.
Oh,
you need a wide angle, do you, mate?
We're not continuing on with those.
I think as a family.
What were you?
That must be a record. It's only seconds into the show, and we've already lost our family-friendly rating.
Yeah, that's right.
What were you talking about?
New record.
What were you talking about last week? A donger or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But anyway, forget about all that. Put them all away. Now, just going back to my little thing, just to dispel any talk of lawsuits. I found the story. Can you believe it? Steve Ballmer gets egged now, and Gary Kasparov gets flying penis. So there you go. You can have a look at one of those. In Hungary, Microsoft CEO Ballmer gets egged by a student, and there we go. Let's see if we can play that. Let's see how we go. This is interesting for those on the audio, I know.
Gary Kasparov being Russian chess grandmaster.
Right. Well, there they go. They're
flying around a little helicopter there.
It's like
crazy.
Yeah, see, I told you. I was right. I knew it was something like that.
Somebody did from somewhere.
That's right. But how funny is that? You can't believe what... Oh, dear. It's funny what people get up to. All right, let's get stuck into it, and let's meet somebody who hasn't been here last week. And it's Will. Hello, Will.
How do? Yeah, very fortunate I'm here again this week, actually.
Oh, what's going on in your busy little
life?
My
computer's trying its best to explode.
Oh, good. And how's it doing all right, is it?
Well, at the moment it's working, which is one stage above what it's normally been doing this week. So,
right, and look, and those of you, I have got a new toy, and it will be expanding. You want to hear it? There we go. I've got one soundboard thing.
He learnt how to internet.
I got one sound in the soundboard, and that's it. Or I promise to get more.
My soundboard came with 30 or 40 sounds. You got ripped off.
Yeah, well, I got a blank one. I didn't.
Oh, you got those high quality Apple ones. That's what the problem is.
I didn't want all the fart soundboards like you will. I just wanted a blank one. Start afresh.
Yeah, you can do those yourself. You don't need a soundboard for that.
All right. Well, we better bring Jace in as well. He's here. He's sitting over in the other corner. Hey, Jace, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Hey, what's been going on with you,
Dr. Nick?
Dr. Nick? Is that the guy that kills people?
Crikey.
Eventually, at some stage.
Dr. Nishki, whatever his
Where
name
have you
is.
been for the last 27 years?
Flammable and inflammable mean the same thing? What the country?
He looks like the
That's
looks like
exactly
the
it.
master. I'll tell you. Give you the heads up. This guy talking about I don't know, beer. Did you see that YouTube video? I must be thirsty. Did you see the YouTube video about the guys who hooked up all the kegs to the guy's tap?
That guy's friend's tap. Yeah, that was hilarious.
I think it was New
Hope
Zealand.
he doesn't have any kids. I had a drink out at Daddy's tap, and now I feel very weird. Like David at the dentist.
Yeah, there's the video
Real
going.
life.
I think they're New Zealanders. I think if you want to catch it, I think it's on YouTube, I guess. I think I saw it on the 9MSN actually, but I'm pretty sure it'd be on a YouTube because it went viral. And it was quite funny. They waited for the old mate to go out for work, and they snuck around. They rolled in full kegs under his house and roundabouts, and they must have. I must have counted 4 or 5 kegs. Hooked up every tap in the house, so when it was turned on, beer came out. So he came home unbeknownst to him, and I think his wife goes, "What's that coming out of the tap?" When she goes to wash her hands, and he goes, "I don't know." He goes home, and he goes, puts his hand under it. He goes, "What is that?" He goes, "Oh, it's beer."
Imagine when his wife has a shower in the morning. I mean, a lot of women use beer for shampoo because it's supposed to be good for your hair and make it silky, but I think you have to wash it out afterwards.
Oh yeah, soap up. And and a special little shout out to one of our listeners in the lounge right now, Miko, who advises that on Talk Like a Pirate Day and probably every show that he watches the show in the raw. So hi Miko, I hope you're having fun. All right.
Just keep the webcam turned off.
I'm glad it's not Google Hangout. Well, no pun intended.
Don't let your Google hang out.
That's right. All right. Onwards and upwards.
Yeah, talking about internet issues. Probably this I've just uncovered. Maybe the source of the problem. Tell me what you think.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I know. Drum roll, please.
Chicken man.
Look what I got in the mail.
Yeah, you know who else got that? Evans Head got that. And then 2 days later, they got a mass publication saying, "No, sorry, that wasn't meant for you."
Now, what it was a card. It was like a big postcard from Telstra. On the front, it says, "Glenn, you're getting better broadband." So let's turn over and see what that's all about, hey? Hi, Glenn. Here's some good news. We've recently upgraded the broadband network in Robina. So you should be experiencing faster speeds even during peak usage hours of 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Guess what? Ba-bam! More good news is that we're giving you the 3 for free crap. All right, so there you go. Maybe they've twiggled with it, they've fiddled, they've twiddled, they've spat on it, they've cleaned up the connections. You know, they've put the stripped the wires with their teeth. They've reconnected everything. I haven't noticed any difference. But